Hello. This is Jonah from Below This Coding. Um, I have a really cool video here showcasing a script um, that I had some help getting wrote, but for the most part, a lot of this is modified to work for me. I also used a little bit of ChatGPT to kind of help fill in the gaps of kind of like some of my understanding. Um, like for example, I knew that I needed an array, right? But I needed an array that had objects, and each of the object has key values, and then those key values contain the data that I need to access within my logic, right? Um, so I kind of just want to break it down and then kind of explain the whole reason why I even have this to be a thing. So of course you see an array with spells. If you see here, there's a spell um, that's being called here. Registered here with a delay of 40. Um, 40 ticks is equivalent of like 2 seconds. So I'll explain what that is later. Here I have a spell from a mod, actually. So modded spells do work with this particular script. Um, I've registered a lot of weapons. There is in this mod pack that the person had me make. Um, there's a ton of weapons. I've been trying to get ChatGPT to kind of like do it for me. It did a good job with understanding some of them, but it didn't get all of them. So I just didn't want to go through like 300 weapons. I just really didn't feel like doing that. But I did get some. So yeah. So here um, is where we get to the meat and potatoes. With Kubejs, you need to there's kind of like broken logic there with registering spells to entities because the problem is simply that the AI code gets overwritten. So however your mob attacks, however they attack, just completely render that useless. And completely render that, yeah, completely useless, and that's terrible. This script it adds the goal to the mob, which gives them that extra layer of complexity. Um, here, so you have um, a string for the attack target. Um, you have arrow function here that checks if the mob has a target and if that's true, etc. Um, I haven't seen these before. This kind of code here. I have yet to see this yet. I pretty much know what it does, um, and whatnot, but it's new to me. So I've been kind of playing around with like what this is. Um, okay, let's move on to the next thing. So I wanted to create scaling spell a scaling spell multiplier um, based off the weapon's damage. And I wanted it to be a rounded value so that it never falls, so it's never no more than one. I mean, no less than one and no greater than 10. But it will always fall between each value between 1 and 10, where 10 is the max spell multiplier and 1 is the least. So that means your weakest weapon will give you at least a multiplier of 1, and as your weapon continues to as you get stronger weapons, then your spell multiplier um, continues to grow. So the logic here, set a couple of variables. Here's the the variable that holds all the calculation, and then we end it with the round. Math.round is what I used, which was pretty cool. Pretty cool. And so now we move on to this. Uh, what's this guy name? Shout out to Leopu. Le Leopu, like totally helped with like a core like example that just really set the precedence for everything else. And so I just kept like asking questions. I kept like going through fucking hundreds of lines of code like all over the place, and just doing a lot of testing. And I was able to get to this result just by kind of like starting to develop that intuition for like what I need. For example, I saw this line of code somewhere, right? And I was like, okay, if set attribute based value is a thing, then I need the mob, which would be this thing here. Like if you highlight in internal dot pathfinder mob is the mob that we set for this particular thing, right? So as long as I can access this variable and assign it set attribute based value, then boom, we can give it an attribute. Because earlier in Cube's IronSpells Cube.js like form, it turns out that the other guy, his code was wrong. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Um, he tried to assign. He tried to assign. He tried to use the example on the forum, and he missed this function. He was missing this function in his code. That's why it wasn't applying the specific spell power that he needed. Now, all I did here was apply an if statement that checked if the string is equal to if like the golem exists essentially, and it will add a base spell power of 10 to. It doesn't add it to the mob. I think this just adds it to all entities, which on the one hand kind of sucks, but hey, it's better than nothing. It technically works. So, um, and I probably could just put the string value here, but I just don't think it works. So just assume that this, I'm not even using this to be honest. I actually don't need this anymore. Ironically, I don't need to use this anymore. Why do I need to use this anymore? Because we found out that we can use set attribute base value. And so in the game, I looked up every single spell power class in the game, and then I had it set the spell power equal to the main hand item damage value. Now, in my mod pack, the spell power is it's maxed basically because I'm using L2 hostility and the mob's attack damage scale is so high. When you add the main hand damage value, the main hand damage is also like the actual hand damage. Like if you're holding air and you're whatever damage without a weapon, that's how much damage actually gets registered here. So this is basically your full attack damage value with or without an item, essentially. So spell power becomes basically whatever your highest damage value is, and it gets put into this value, which sets the mob's spell power for whatever spells that they're going to be using. Okay. Now we're going down. We were saying if the main hand item and if I'm not mistaken, wait, let me see. Is this and? I think this is the and operator. the and boolean. Anyway, if the item and the spells with the item, the specific item ID is true, then we run the code, right? So we're gonna let spell configs equal to the spell item ID, and this is where we're going into like other things. So this is setting the spell index and casting state to 0 for the item. Is basically saying starting off clean. This also checks if you're in the middle of casting so that you don't make another cast while you're casting. Um, then it's this sets the current index just here or current spell, and this is where you look at the spell config. So I'm looking at the list that's in here. So what is dot list? So dot list is this key right here. Yeah, is this key. Okay. So it's looking for the weapon held, and it's looking for the list key, and then it's going to look for the value in here, right? So we're going to go back. All right. The current index is basically the position where the spell is. So this would be an index of 1. If I was to add another spell, like let's say, yeah, this would be an index of 2. I mean, excuse me, this would be index 0. This would be index 1. Okay. So, um, yeah. Let's see, what else do I need to explain? Okay, so this takes the weapon attack damage or 0 if there's no attack, if there's none. We're gonna add the attack damage to calculate spell power, and it will gain the spell, whatever the spell tier is, right? So once all of these values run at, oh shit, excuse me. Once all of these values meet the proper condition, it runs this entire line of code, right? So we have a mob server schedule intick, the dot delay. Now here's the cool part, guys. We basically added cast time to the to the um to the spells without touching cast time. Well, we add cast time to more cast time if because you have to initialize the cast. So whatever the actual cast time is for the spell, the mob still has to do it, right? So let's go back up to our array. So you see where I have this value called delay. This sets the server ticks to be this. So I gave it the value of the delay, and I put it here. So whatever the current spell is, so it's going to look for the spell config. It's going to look for the list. It's going to look for the spell. It's going to throw yeah. It's going to add that. It's going to add that index. Boom, delay, and it's gonna ask for the. It's gonna look for the delay value essentially and put that here. That's what this means. Okay. We got an arrow function that runs. This checks if the target is alive and the target is still there. Okay. If mob.target is equal to the target, and if the target is alive, then it continues to cast a spell. So it's going to ignore this. I was going to test something if it would actually multiply the total because I was looking at something in Kubejs, but completely disregard what this. Anyway, This is the meat and potatoes. We did all this to get here, but I made everything is dynamic. So there's a lot that I don't have to touch anymore. That's also why I did everything, right? So we have the current spell, which is looking for the spell value inside of our array. So let's look at our spell value. So let's say if I gave it an iron sword, if I gave the golem, the modular golem, an iron sword, he would the first spell he casts or it casts would be flaming strike. Then it will cycle through the spells. So it would change indexes. It would add an index and go up by one. It'll go to the next one and it would cast blood slash. It does not do these randomly. It does these in order. I could make it random, but I'm not. I had to spend quite some time trying to figure all this out. So I'm not going to make it random. I kind of like it in an order anyway, because this is basically a spell rotation, if you will. I, got it to have a spell rotation. So now, so once you are done casting the spell, it will cycle to the next spell. It'll set the spell index to whatever the current index is, add it +1, and then it will go through each part of the list dot length, right? The dot length goes through the entire thing. All right. It resets the casting state after it's done. Okay. So once this is done, reset goes back to 0. All right. So let's take a look at what this looks like in game. Don't mind this chick here. I was just kind of wanted to take a look at Yes Steve model, and I haven't given myself a model yet. All right, where's my golem? Oh no, he's in my inventory. All right. He kind of blew everything up, so that's kind of why we're here. Let's see. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm kind of trying to create like a little enclosure. I guess I could just set it to nighttime, huh? All right, set it to nighttime. All right, so now let's use a brand new golem. Let's just use a brand new golem. I got a couple of no's. People were like, "Oh, you can't do that. You have to mod it in." And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the more I read the code, the more that I see that it's possible, All right, so let's see. Let's go off with a bang. All right, so this scepter is set where if he's holding this, he's gonna use the annihilation spell. All right. All right. Gotta stand back. All right. Spell power is also set. Is he gonna use it? Oh. He. Oh, God. What did he hit? What did he hit? Oh. Yeah, he's gonna keep firing these. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. Now, and this is because he has this weapon set. Oh, it's not dead yet. I also had a couple of issues that I'll discuss as well while he's dropping nukes on. Yeah. Oh God. Um. So, all right, you're done. All right, let me pick you up, buddy. Can't have you keep dropping nukes on people, on skeletons. All right, all right. So one of the issues that I had to learn about was trying to get the logic of him spamming. All right. So what it used to do, it would kill the mob and it would spam the spells again. Had to fix that by adding the right kind of logic. So luckily, I just kind of I figured the if statement had to be somewhere surrounding the initial spell being cast. So all right, so let's change up a little thing, right? So he had this, he cast Annihilation, right? You guys saw this. Now I'm gonna give him an iron sword. Take that. Now let's see what he does now. Now, if you look at the code, let's take a look at the code. He is supposed to cast. Oh wait, with the iron sword, he's supposed to cast Flaming Strike and Blood Slash. So let's see what he does. Yup, Flame Slash. All right, Blood. Boom, dead. Good job. All right. So let's look at what. Let's see. Look at other things. Did I change the diamond sword? I didn't. Ice Dragon Bone Katana. Okay, let's give him a Ice Dragon Bone Katana. All right. So we have an Ice Dragon Bone Katana, and this is kind of funny because look at that. Look at how he's holding that weapon, dude. It's menacing. All right. So, all right. Let's see it. Oh, yeah, that's really strong. So we gotta. All right. Boom. Does a lot of damage. He does a lot of damage. He does a lot. So he's supposed to cast the flaming. Ooh. Oh shit. Oh. All right. So cool thing is that if he casts the first spell, right, the target dies and he gets a new target, he's going to continue casting his spells. It's going to continue. So that's a cool thing. And here's another thing. I have it where like I said, his spell damage changes based off of based off his attack values, right? So how we know this works is if we do. Let's see. Let's say fire. Let's look at his fire spell power right now. Base get. When you do base get, it just shows you what his spell power is. So spell power is fairly low right now. Let's see. Let's look. Let's look at what he has. Yeah, the attack damage is very low. Attack damage is very low, so the spell power is at like 15, right? So let's see. Let's see something. All right. Now let's look at his spell power. Interesting. It went up to like 119 versus. Huh. This attack damage is 8. So he must get some. He must get a higher multiplier. That's interesting. All right. No, don't. No, I need you to follow me. There we go. All right. So that's pretty much it. Um, and what you can do here is just add whatever weapons you want. All you need to do. This is what I use. I use the mod called Tell Me. Right. Tell Me. Dump to file. I like the ASCII table, and then we do items or entities. Entities would be like the name of the spells or something like that, something close to that. But yeah, spell power is pretty high. Um, yeah, he can't. He can't handle that many. He can't handle that many zombies. All right. Anyway, that's about it for the video. I could, and this could translate to any mod, by the way. Let's take a look. Where do I have it? Yeah. So all you have to do is just swap the name here for another mob, and that's it. Literally, literally just swap the name for the mob, and that's it. It'll do the exact same thing here. That's why I kind of designed I designed everything to be where all you need to do is change two values. Well, maybe three. Three main things needs to be changed here. The the delay and spells and the name of the weapon here. So the values in the array you change yourself, but they don't need to be you don't need to do anything with them anymore. And you can change the spell power calculation here. And that's it. That's it. No, two main things. Two main things. No, three. Yeah, three. So here, mob name, data in the array, and the um, min-max attack and spell power. Yeah. So that's about it. You guys have a great evening.